Joining us right now, South Dakota Republican Senator Mike Round. Senator, good to have you on the program. Welcome back. Will you get a bill to the president?
We're going to do our best. We start out by getting on the bill, and there are archaic rules in the Senate. You can't even begin to debate it until, in this particular case, you get a majority of the members in the Senate to agree to even consider it before there are new amendments to be considered as well. So the first step is to have the introduction of the new revised bill, and then once we've got that in hand, to be able to convince enough of our members that it's time to move to the bill. I'm going to vote to move to the bill. I think we're moving in the right direction. I look forward to an open amendment process. I think we can take a bill which is better than what we've got today, and we can make it better yet. We've got a transition period here in which we overcome what I call this ObamaCare hangover, this time period in which very expensive premiums are out there and the American public are suffering with those. But we've got to be able to continue to assure people, number one, that pre-existing conditions will continue to be covered. Second of all, that there will be a reduction in the premiums. We know that. CBO's already reported that. But during this transition period, we can't just simply allow people to pay very, very high premiums that they can't afford. So there's a transition period. That's the reason why some of the revenue is being left back into it in the new version. I think it's a step in the right direction.
So that revenue being left into it, meaning you're going to keep those Obamacare taxes in place?
I think there's two parts. First of all, I don't know what the leadership has done in terms of making that permanent or not, but I think for a period of time, there should be enough revenues in it because we will have some additional expenses to overcome this transition period, this hangover period. But after that, I think it's reasonable to look at a sunset. That's a part of the negotiations for either this bill or perhaps for tax reform, which will be coming shortly.
Senator, it's Dagan McDowell. You know that when people say we were going to sunset this tax increase, that it'll eventually go away. The American people know that that is a gimmick used by lawmakers to avoid making tough decisions in the near future and pushing those decisions out to make them somebody else's problem.
No, actually, I'm going to disagree with you on that. And the reason why is because we know that we have a cost involved in this transition. There truly is a cost to getting off of Obamacare because there are very high premiums that are out there right now that the American people didn't ask for, but they're stuck with. If we don't have a transition period where we have revenue to help assist in that, then that cost is going to be borne directly by people in some of the lower income brackets that didn't ask for this mess in the first place. But I think we've got an obligation to help them get through it. But second of all, the revenues that are coming in, I think, if we say that they're going to be left in the bill permanently now, there will be a group of folks that look at this and say a sunset is reasonable. But in the meantime, let's make sure we've got some revenues. Let's not make a promise to these folks and then not have some sort of a justification or a revenue resource in which to respond. So I think we are being responsible. We are recognizing the cost of a transition from this to a competitive marketplace. But part of that is this is an expensive thing to do. And with that revenue, I think we might be able to help some people that otherwise probably couldn't afford to pay for their health insurance.
Senator, I wonder if you could help me here. One of the things we normally have when we watch you all make the sausage and make these deals and hammer out bills is we have committee work and lots of hearings and lots of experts weighing in. This isn't the case with this bill. Where are we? How's it going? There are a lot of amendments we understand that are being proposed. Where are we in the timeline, and how's it feeling to you?
Well, I think, first of all, among the Republican senators, and so I can't speak for my Democrat colleagues, among the Republican senators, we've had literally dozens of meetings, a huge number of discussions about the policy, the process, and so forth. Been pretty open in terms of our discussions internally. So among ourselves, we've talked a lot about the different parts of this bill. The bill itself right now, leadership's been pretty careful to say, look, we'll announce it at one time. We're not going to release bits and pieces of it separately to members. We're going to treat everybody the same. So I understand that. I think a lot of the members here have said, look, we'd love to have a different process. Leadership continues to explain that they think this is the best approach right now. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. A lot of the members, some of the senior members, would have preferred the traditional way, going right on through that committee process. That's kind of what a lot of us had hoped for, but once again, we have leadership, we elect leadership, we allow them to make some of those decisions, and then once they do, we'll deal with it, and that's what we're going to do here.
Senator Andrew Peake, on this higher taxes for Obamacare issue, Is this something you could see going to in a tax reform bill after the health care bill, just to improve the optics a little bit, so you're not cutting taxes on the wealthy while also cutting health care for Americans?
Yeah, look, I think that's one of the reasons why leadership has agreed with us that we can't simply cut taxes on the wealthy while at the same time we would be raising premiums on individuals inside of the Obamacare mess that we've got today. That's the reason why a group of us went to leadership and said, look, let's leave some of those taxes intact that are part of the Obamacare package to begin with. Let's admit that this is going to be an expensive thing to get through, that there is a hangover with Obamacare. We didn't create Obamacare, but we have to deal with it, and we've got to take care of folks out there that otherwise would be stuck with higher premiums with no subsidies in which to offset some of those costs.
But essentially, Senator, you're in favor, rather than cutting, you're in favor of, let's be clear, you're standing by a tax increase. As a Republican senator, you're standing by a tax increase rather than cutting somewhere to pay for it.
No, what we're saying is...
Why is that not accurate?
Let me share with you, because what happens if you simply cut it out, then what you're doing is you're going to transfer that cost to someone else. And in this particular case, that someone else are people in lower income brackets who have no place else to go to get anything on health premiums that in some cases could be greater than what a house mortgage payment would be. Now, the question that we have for folks out there that are wondering why we would do this is what is more appropriate at this time? Do you help those individuals who have no place else to go, who didn't ask for this in the first place, or do you relieve a tax on people that make $250,000 in their household or more per year for a period of time into the future, and that tax is already in place? Or are we being more responsible by saying, we know that we have this cost, we're going to leave this tax revenue in place because Obamacare has to transition out, this is part of Obamacare, but as we transition back into an open and competitive market, we would like to see that tax revenue reduced over a period of time, but not right now. We have another package available that we can put a sunset into. Personally, I'd prefer to see a sunset included in the bill, but I haven't seen the bill yet. I don't know if there's a sunset in it. In the meantime, there is a cost.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to pay it. I just don't think that lower income family should have to pay the total cost of Obamacare without any assistance. And if we've got this revenue source available, I think we can help transition through the pain of this transition and actually help some folks out that have no place else to go.
I want to